If you're a QuickBooks customer looking to grow your business without the growing pains, you need the Intuit ERP. Upgrade to Intuit Enterprise Suite in a matter of hours. It's the AI native ERP from the makers of QuickBooks. Learn more at intuit.com/ERP.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I think as soon as you die, if you're on the right side of things, you find out everything, and that's kind of an awesome, I have to process death. This is one of the ways I process death. I think that I really believe he's with God right now, and I believe he lived an extraordinary life, and he was happy. Let's face it, the guy could never take the smile off his face, right? I've never seen him angry, yes, I knew he was capable of anger. He's a human being, and we bonded. I told you, we bonded over of certain things that weren't like, certain things in the news industry that happened, and I can say we were friends, and I liked him a lot, and New York liked him a lot. You want to hear a little clip of him doing the news?
Yeah.
This is, and I do remember this. I was in 6th grade. It was like the biggest thing that ever happened other than the hostages. It was a huge, huge deal. John Lennon shot and killed. And this relatively, new reporter to New York City, Ernie Anastos, it was like, wow, this guy is just going to make us feel better about everything. And he really had that ability. Ernie Anastos, cut 22. This is December 1980 in Central Park after John Lennon died. Cut 22.
And today we're here at Central Park, 7 days after John Lennon met with a violent death. And we're listening in the background is Give Peace a Chance. And that's what they're trying to do today in remembering John Lennon. What we are going to do is we're going to take a break. We're all going to take a break. And we're going to think in our own way. Because beginning at 2 o'clock, momentarily, we'll have a 10-minute silent prayer in memory of John Lennon. And that being the request of his late wife, Yoko Ono. Bruce Morrow, who is a very well-known personality in New York, affectionately known as Cousin Brucey, has joined us here this afternoon. And just for a moment, we don't have very much time, Bruce, but you remember the Beatles. I mean, you were instrumental in their happiness and their success here in New York City.
I never thought that we'd be coming to this place that started a lot of happiness for a lot of groups, and this is a very sad day.
Hey, stop for a second. 10-minute moment of silence. You could never pull one of those things off today.
No.
But that was very nice. You heard him there narrating the events. The late John Lennon, Yoko Ono, the widow. You want to hear this? Here he is doing the news, doing a special TV event during the 4th of July. Let me see here. Cut 20, if you don't mind. Cut 20, and I think there's a sponsor that they mentioned right off the top. Cut 20.
This Eyewitness News Brief is brought to you by Baskin-Robbins.
Good evening. Coming up tonight on Eyewitness News, right after Liberty coverage, we'll have live reports from all around the town and views of New York Harbor from our blimp.
We will be live at Governor's Island with a behind-the-scene look at tonight's big show. We will also be live from Battery Park, where thousands of New Yorkers gathered to watch the relighting of the Statue of Liberty, and we'll also have a live report from a yacht in New York Harbor where people paid $1,000 to get on board.
All right, and another part of this weekend's festivities is the big concert in Central Park. We'll have a preview for you, and we'll give you the complete rundown of tomorrow's events. It is going to be an incredible 4th of July. We'll have coverage, Eyewitness News.
All right. That was a big event, by the way. That was the centennial of the Statue of Liberty. Look, he looked great. He sounded great. He understood New York. He understood people. And he was like the MC of the city in a way. And I know he leaves behind his wife, Kelly, and 2 kids, 82 years old. You know what? It is a bit young these days. You know what I mean? Anything below 90, I'm a little bit like, I think people should live to be at 90 at least. So it's a little bit younger than I would like, but I know he triumphed in life, and I know he triumphs in death. And I'm glad I knew him. Glad I got to know him. Icon. I remember when he interviewed my dad in 1992, shortly after my father became commissioner. And in fact, the day he became police commissioner, it was live in studio. We were thrilled. One of the first things I asked him about, when he became police commissioner, wow, what was Ernie Anastos like? You got to meet Ernie Anastos. It was like such a big deal. Anyway, thoughts, James Flippin?
Well, it was really a pleasure that I got a chance to meet him working here at 77 WABC. He's a guy who I grew up watching as a anchor on Fox 5, that era of his career. And I also, previously worked at WOR, where they used to air the Positively Ernie series, and that was also airing here right up until yesterday. So, a guy who, just salt of the earth, great guy, great storyteller. Like you said, that smile, just all I can picture right now, and he'll be missed.
How did he die? Do we know?
They said pneumonia. I know that he'd had some health battles in recent months, but that's what they said. I think it was at the hospital.
So we anchored together during the Hurricane Sandy. They put us together a couple of times. It was fun. Interesting, big guy. So I was watching him in the 4th grade. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Rosanna Scotto, my former co-anchor, and his former co-anchor paid him a nice tribute. Let's listen to a little bit of this. Cut 19, if you don't mind. Cut 19.
I have some sad news to report. Legendary New York news anchor and our former Fox 5 colleague Ernie Anastos has passed away.
Ernie's career spanned multiple decades. He came to New York in the late 70s, where he anchored the news at multiple local stations.
That's right. And he came here to Fox 5 in 2005, where he worked for 15 years before leaving in 2020. Rosanna Scotto takes a look back at his career.
Our first inductee this evening is a legend in New York television, Ernie Anastos.
When you think of New York television news, you think of Ernie Anastos.
Good evening to you. I'm Ernie Anastos.
I'm Rosanna Scotto. His journalistic career spans more than 3 decades.
I'm passionate about my work. I love what I do.
Ernie's passion for broadcasting has made him a fixture in New York journalism.
This is the 5 o'clock Eyewitness News with Ernie Anastos.
I'm Ernie Anastos, and tonight we are live.
Now he's home right here at Fox 5.
Fox 5 people are part of the community. We are a fabric, and we know what people are thinking about.
As a seasoned anchor, Ernie has covered the gamut of major news stories.
All next week at 5, Ernie Anastos takes you to Cuba.
5 years later, the question everyone has is, could it happen again? This is all part of an assignment, one of many.
He's gained the respect of world leaders.
Right now. I want to thank Ernie Anastos for being here and being our master of ceremonies, for the wonderful job he did last night.
And entertainers alike.
Ernie, if you're watching, can you give me a call?
One thing about anchormen, they rarely smile. Oh, too much on their minds. Not Ernie. He's always smiling.
Ernie continues to step away from the anchor desk and right into the heart of breaking news.
Lady Liberty was closed for a while, but now it's been reopened.
Stop!
Ooh, yeah.
Stop. Are they going to bring up the chicken? You think they're going to bring up the chicken in this report?
I doubt it.
All right. Well, we'll talk about the chicken. All right.
Oh, we can talk about the chicken?
Yeah, we can talk about the chicken.
Okay.
It's okay if I bring it up. You
Yeah.
are very disrespectful. No, you're all right. Keep going.
Now there's a new chapter in this news legend's career. Author Ernie is writing a series of children's books with a news theme. The first book, appropriately titled Ernie and the Big News.
It really helps children to learn, to grow, and to dream.
What you've done is something that is going to live in our television history.
I want to wish you all good news in your life, because when it's all said and done, it's really about family and friends.
I guess they're not going to bring up the chicken. I will, and I'll tell you what happened, okay?
Yeah.
Because Ernie was unfairly accused of uttering a profanity. That was what I call, and I actually studied this, and I presented my findings to Ernie, and he totally agreed. That was something called an acoustical anomaly. All right? There was basically, he did not utter what was heard. Mm-hmm. This has happened before. It comes to light in the Kennedy assassination. It also comes to, there was also an instance of this when, what's his name? Neil Armstrong stepped on the moon. He did say that's one small step for a man. That's one giant leap for mankind, because that's grammatically correct. And that's what he said. But all you heard was that's one small step for a man.
Oh, so
one small step for a man. And
because the A got cut out by the mic?
A got cut out, and there are things that happen like that. So he did not say that. He said, keep plucking that chicken, right? But there was basically the microphone, it's a microphone design flaw.
Yeah.
And that's why, so everybody went bananas with it. I think they even mentioned it in the New York Times obituary. But you know what? In a career as long as his, if, something like that's going to happen sooner or later.
It is weird with audio, though. Like, it makes me want to move my head away from the mic if I say P, like the P sound is the one that messes it up, right? It's the P, and that kind of can sort of sound like an F if it distorts the audio.
I think you just have a learning disability, actually. But with Ernie, it was not his fault. It was not a speech impediment, perhaps.
I see. Well, you called me Pippin the other day, and P and F. Maybe it's just sort of like one of those where you mix it up sometimes.
Did I really? I don't remember. Let's see here. Do we have to sit through the entire 10-minute moment of silence? Let's skip a little bit. I want to go back. Can you go back to where we were in the report from Central Park about John Lennon? Go ahead and pick that up if you don't mind. Pretty please. Super duper extra cherry on top.
Today we're here at Central Park, 7 days after John Lennon met with a violent death, and we're listening in the background is Give Peace a Chance. And that's what they're trying to do today in remembering John Lennon. What we are going to do is we're going to take a break. We're all going to take a break.
You know what happened also on TV? You know what happened? A lot of people were jealous of him, James. A lot of people were jealous of him. He made $2 million a year. And one of those people was me. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Yes. He made $2 million a year in 1992. It's like $20 million today.
It's like CNN money.
He owned radio. They don't pay that kind of money.
No? Oh.
He owned radio stations. He had a lot of other things going on, real estate, and a great lover of life. I'll never forget, we went to dinner, and I actually learned a lesson with this. Guess what we did? We split the bill. I was a little bit.
Were you miffed by that?
I wasn't miffed. I kind of admired it, to be honest.
Uh-huh.
Because, you make all this money, you know what I mean? Yeah, I know, but we're two colleagues here. We're two professionals. You didn't have to say this. I mean, this is what I processed.
Oh, so you think it would have actually been a little bit patronizing if he was
I don't know. I just I thought it was, and then I read once that Peter Jennings, when he got out of the cab, he would, he'd tip 15%. He would say, here's a 50, you know what I mean? So the cab driver goes around for the rest of the day saying, yeah, Peter Jennings is a great guy. No, he's a man. He's running the business here. He's, you know what I mean? Serious man. They don't just throw their money all over the place. So, I wonder if Lou Leone is going to have the nerve to go to the funeral. Lou Leone kind of was not a good guy to Ernie. Mm-hmm. I wonder, my advice would be to stay away. Stay away. He was no fan of Lou Leone. Now, Lou, after I'm dead, can do whatever he wants. I don't care. But, no, and Lou served his purpose. Lou, whatever. I think he was gratuitously not nice to Ernie. I think there was some tension there, and whatever that happens. It's part of life, right? Not every boss is going to be in love with you, right? It's all part of the test, the part of the game of life, I should say. Charlie Kirk's accused assassin is in court. Was it always this complicated prosecuting somebody? I don't remember, but the guy who shot and killed. What president came before Teddy Roosevelt? McKinley.
Okay, yeah.
The guy who shot and killed McKinley, they had the trial like in 2 months, mm-hmm. and they put him to death like 8 months later.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's some weird thing with the I guess the guy's name I think is Tyler Robinson. That particular case is being disputed in terms of like the prosecutors who knew somebody who was at the event, like the prosecutor's cousin was at the shooting or something like that. So I think that's the holdup here. They're saying it somehow is like a potential conflict of interest.
I thought they ruled. I don't know.
They already ruled on that.
How much more evidence do you need?
But it definitely delayed it, even if it didn't.
This guy is guilty. His own parents know he's guilty. All right. I know you got to have a trial. I know you got to do all that stuff, but this hearing and that hearing and the preliminary to the preliminary and the.
Well, the internet conspiracy theorists wouldn't want to hear you saying that. They would say that's a rush to. Judgment.
I want due process, but I think there are just way too many preliminary. Judge in Kirk case weighs media access. Hasn't they figured this one out? I'm serious. We have overcomplicated everything. Everything is overcomplicated right now. Overly complicated. And I don't know why. It's possibly, you know what? It's the phone. It's email. Your boss can weigh in on everything. This judge, he has got to worry about the Court of Appeals. The Court of Appeals got to worry about the State Supreme Court. The State Supreme Court's got to worry about the U.S. Supreme Court and the Appellate Court and the Appellate Division and the District Division. It's, I just don't, it shouldn't be that complicated. We're taking the humanity out of everything. And you know what? I mean, artificial intelligence is going to do that soon enough. We all should have agency. We all should have leeway. We all should have a little bit of judgment. A judge is a judge. Let him judge. You hear about all those mandatory this, mandatory that. I have to sentence you. I'm sorry. I know you crossed the street illegally, but according to this, I have to sentence you to 20 years in jail.
Yeah.
3 strikes and you're out.
Well, I mean, that's lawmakers taking power of the situation, I guess, or over the situation.
Van Halen. You'll never find a black person at a Van Halen concert.
Ever?
Ever. It's never happened.
It's never happened before.
There's diversity in almost every music except Van Halen music.
Van Halen.
That's not good or bad. Mm-hmm. It's just a fact. Anyway, we love Van Halen and white people and black people. It doesn't matter. It just happens to be that way. We'll be right back.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Kayak gets my flight, hotel, and rental car right. So I can tune out travel advice that's just plain wrong.
Bro, SkyCoin. Way better than points.
Never fly during a Scorpio full moon.
Just tell the manager you'll sue. Instant room upgrade.
Stop taking bad travel advice. Start comparing hundreds of sites with Kayak and get your trip right.
Bad advice? You talking to me?
Kayak. Got that right.
TaxAct understands you haven't memorized the tax code. That's why TaxAct has live experts to help. TaxAct can even do it for you if you prefer. It's the easiest way to know you're doing it right. Well, other than going back to college and obtaining a bachelor's degree in accounting with a minor in finance, then interning somewhere and becoming fluent in all tax forms. But that might be hard to accomplish before tax day. So maybe just stick with TaxAct. TaxAct. Let's get them over with.
Greg Kelly.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Really bad news about another plane going down in Iraq, over Iraq. An American KC-135, a great big tanker, went down. I heard at first, I didn't hear anything at first. Then I heard friendly fire, and then it's not friendly fire, maybe mechanical. We'll find out a little bit more. President Trump remains very, very confident in this whole thing. I'm a little bit worried about these drones in the Strait of Hormuz. I went through the Strait of Hormuz once when I was in the military, actually twice, once in and once out. And even back then, and we weren't at war or anything like that, although we were flying combat missions over Iraq in the late 90s, it was tense. We were in a special alert state, right? They shut off the lights on the ship. Or a minimal lighting package. I remember actually looking out and seeing Iran off in the not too far distance and seeing the lights of Iran. And, there was concern. And there was a posture that they may open fire on us and we may have to do something about it. And, it was a tense time, both, on the way in. I do remember it on the way in, to be honest. I don't remember it on the way out. I might have been asleep. I didn't have anything really to do at that point. I wasn't flying, when we were going through the Strait of Hormuz. It's been pointed out to me, number one, the drones that are starting these fires on these ships and can actually take down a ship, take down one of these things, a little drone. It's kind of incredible, but yes. And those things can be launched from anywhere in Iran, not just from the beach, right? I kind of had this sense, well, you got to see the ship. No, you can do it from hundreds of miles inland. And that's very, very worrisome. Now, what could we do? We could carpet bomb that little area on the Iranian side around the Strait of Hormuz. That would not hurt us. It would hurt Iran. I think that's got to be on the table. We can't, and I don't know why he said it, but he said it. Newt Gingrich, right? He made everybody alarmed and stuff like that. This war is not even 2 weeks old. It'll be 2 weeks old tomorrow. Yes, we always knew that there could be complications with the Strait of Hormuz. We've also been planning on this thing for a long time, right? There have been operations and simulations and war games about the Strait of Hormuz, since we first found it on a map. It's just always been a what if. What if they do this? Then we'll do that. Now, one thing though that we haven't really experienced is this drone warfare. This is a new thing. Drones have been around for, a bit of time now, but like the warfare in Ukraine, we've never had to deal with that ourselves. and incoming drones, kamikaze drones. How do you defend against them? We've done training, we've done simulations, we've done planning, but we haven't had much operational experience. There's a lot of improvising going on right now. How do we shut these things down? Can we do it through our jammers, electronic jamming? We have amazing, immense electronic jamming. The F-18, they call it a growler. We used to have a prowler, now we have the growler. You go up there and basically they can press a few buttons and they can turn off your phone system, they can turn off your satellite system, they can turn off, and they can also feed it bad information. You can make these drones crash, you can do all kinds of things, but still some may get through. They're very, very cheap, as cheap as, I was talking to somebody today, $20,000 to $50,000. Some are even cheaper than that. So it's a problem. It's a challenge. There's some speculation that President Trump will declare victory and will just move on. I don't think that's going to cut it, because Iran seems to be intent on saving face. You got to save face. Everyone, when you're negotiating something, whether there's war going on or not, you got to worry about saving face. You got to let the other guy save face. Sun Tzu, The Art of War, this guy I read, the ancient Chinese philosopher that many a military officer has read over the centuries. He said, one line I kind of remember almost verbatim, "You must build your enemy a golden bridge on which to retreat." Meaning you have to allow him to save face. You have to remember his reputational concerns. You don't want to humiliate your enemy. That's why you don't want to goad your enemy. You don't want to mock your enemy. You don't want to be like Pete Hegseth saying F-A and F-O, right? That may play really well with the podcast bros, but we have bigger things to worry about than some of these fake tough guys or these ex-Navy SEALs or whoever the hell they are with their podcasts, right? Podcasts is now becoming as ornery and sensitive and stupid as big media, right? Oh, if you say something, someone's going to come after you. Oh, I thought we could be free and shoot our mouths off. Isn't that the way it's supposed to be? I think that's the way it's supposed to be, but now there are only a handful of certain it's all a mess, right? It's very much become duplicative, if we're not careful, of mainstream dominant media. Here is President Trump talking about all of this. Cut 9, if you don't mind. Cut 9.
Finally, we hear from the Supreme Leader in a long statement. We don't see him. He doesn't read the speech. They say he wrote the speech. First off, do you believe he's alive?
I think he probably is. I think he's damaged, but I think he's probably alive in some form, yeah.
What's your takeaway? I know he says that he's going to widen the war. He's going to continue to use the Strait of Hormuz as leverage against you to end this war. He's got underwater drones to stop any of the ships going in and out. What's your message back to the new Supreme Leader?
Well, they've been doing a lot of talking, so he's going to have to put up. We'll have to see, because we are decimating them. We've knocked out most of their missiles. We've knocked out many of their drones. We knocked out a lot of the manufacturing areas where they manufacture the missiles and now the drones. We're hitting them harder than anybody's been hit since World War II.
Anybody's been hit since World War II. Well, we don't want to see, one of the things we're doing, unlike them, we're allowing the civilian infrastructure to remain. We don't want to take out their oil. We don't want to take out their highways. We don't want to harass the people. We're trying to cut down on their nuclear, cut down on their missile technology and their ability to fire these missiles. We want them to stop exporting terror. We want them to behave. And ice cream on the cake, a la mode style, would be regime change. And we've already achieved a modicum of that. Let's just see here. What else did I want to do? Trump interview. We already got that one. The synagogue attack and the terror attack at Old Dominion University. President Trump on that. Cut 7, if you don't mind, please. Cut 7.
Before we begin, I want to send our love to the Michigan Jewish community and all of the people in Detroit area following the attack on the Jewish synagogue early today. And I've been fully briefed, and it's a terrible thing, but it goes on. We're going to be right down to the bottom of it. It's absolutely incredible that things like this happen.
Yeah, And you notice it seems to be driven by Islamic extremism. And folks, well, Obama almost made it illegal, right? You had to, no, that's not a thing. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. Oh, that's Islamophobia. No, it's not Islamophobia. It's terrorphobia. I'm phobic of terror. All right. And I don't care if we make a mistake verbally. You know, has anybody seen Mandami enjoying whatever the hell holiday it is, Ramadan, Samadan, whatever that thing is called? It's Ramadan, whatever. Look, I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the culture. No disrespect, but you're almost begging for some sort of reaction by throwing down those carpets in the blue room of City Hall. All right, City Hall. I've been going there. The first time I set foot in City Hall, 1980. When the hell? No, 89, I think. Maybe even before that, I was covering for WFUV radio. I would go down there, college radio, and cover stories and things like that. I knew my dad was a big shot. I mean, I already knew he was a big shot, but I was there the last day of Ed Koch, right? And my dad was coming out of a meeting with Ed Koch. And then the next day I was there, and guess what? He was coming out of a meeting or going into a meeting with David Dinkins. Like, wow, mayors come and go, but my dad is still here. That's pretty cool. And there's something at the City Hall called the Blue Room. Now, the Blue Room is a beautiful, ornate kind of ceremonial room, but they don't just have ceremonies in there. They have briefings of the press. They do have ceremonies, important, solemn ceremonies. I saw my dad in there scores of times when he was police commissioner, and I was at New York One covering. They would make announcements to the press. They would, they made history in that room. My father and Bloomberg together. They were just a dynamic duo. You know, they were amazing together. Two men at the top of their game. I was so proud, quite frankly. And to this day, I see pictures. I'm looking at a picture right now. Let me get this on my iPad. They're just two men, highly educated, highly professional, men who can think and act, right? Sometimes you get really good thinkers who don't know how to act. Sometimes you get really good, men of action who aren't really good at thinking. These guys could do both. And that's rare. I'm so proud of both of them. My dad was the longest serving police commissioner in New York City history. And Mike Bloomberg chose him. And that room was a beautiful room. It's like, imagine the briefing room at the White House, and your dad is the Secretary of Defense and comes over there to brief every now and then, right? So you have a certain reverence, for the space. Mandami goes in there and had a Ramadan jamboree, right? And they threw carpets down all over the place, and they're eating with their hands, and it's just not designed for that. You wouldn't have a church service in there. You wouldn't have temple in there, and you wouldn't have Ramadan in there. But he did, with the carpets and the food. And I noticed something else that I found a little bit, illegal, potentially. A human rights violation, anybody? There's at one point in there where they're doing the religious stuff, and guess who's not in there? Women. It was just the men. Because that's how they roll. You know that, right? That's how it goes down. Everybody always picks apart Christianity. Oh, this and that, and gay sex. Oh, it says we can't do this, can't do that. I just start to muse aloud about what's going on with the Quran and what's that all about. And oh my God, shut up. You're Islamophobic. We're going to boycott the this and the that, and you're in trouble. Look, I don't know why the women were, maybe they just got there late. Maybe all the women got there late. Maybe that's it. Or maybe the women are banished and maybe they're not treated as full human beings. Is that true? I don't know. Hey, people wonder the same thing sometimes about Christians. Hey, why can't women be priests, right? We've had that conversation before. Why can't I have the conversation? I mean, look, you throw it in our face there. You're right there with the carpets all over the place. Where's the furniture? Why are you discriminating against women in the middle of the workday? What the hell kind of thing? If you really want to have it at Gracie Mansion. Don't do it at City Hall. It was weird. And I think he knows it. And I think he's like kind of trying to make something out of it. You know what I mean? What do we have here? He's flailing in every way. Flailing. He doesn't know what to do. Massive budget shortfall. This isn't the incriminating stuff, but I'm just curious about this one. Cut 16, if you don't mind. Cut 16.
Amidst being in the wealthiest city in the wealthiest country in the history of the world, we already see an exodus of working and middle-class New Yorkers. So I don't have a hesitation in asking those who make the most amount of money in the city or the most profits in the city to pay a little bit more.
Same
so that
crap he was saying during the campaign. Same crap during the campaign. That's good. That's good. I'm good. You know what I caught him doing? I caught him lying again. Right? So his whole theme, right? He weaponized his own faith, right? He pretended that he was under fire for his own faith. Okay? Oh, it's so difficult being a Muslim in this city, and I've been taunted, and I've been tormented, and I've been this, and I've been that my entire life, which is not true. You know, New York City is a pretty, in many ways, laid back. This is not Philadelphia. You know, the boys from Philadelphia, hey, what are you doing here? We don't like your type here. We don't do that here. That's not a thing. Hasn't been like that. Not like that. But he pretends it's like that. It's like de Blasio. He got an idea of what the police department was like by watching Starsky and Hutch. Right? And then they come here and they repeat their prejudice and they get other lost souls to buy it. And here we are. A mayor who hates cops and hates America. It makes me sick. It makes me sick. And that little demonstration, there was something very odd about the whole damn thing. Can you imagine the uproar if they were passing out Holy Communion at City Hall yesterday? I'll be right back.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Eczema is unpredictable, but you can flare less with Ebglyss, a once-monthly treatment for moderate to severe eczema. After an initial 4-month or longer dosing phase, about 4 in 10 people taking Ebglyss achieved itch relief and clear or almost clear skin at 16 weeks. And most of those people maintain skin that's still more clear at 1 year with monthly dosing.
Ebglyss, lebrikizumab LBKZ, a 250 milligram per 2 milliliter injection, is a prescription medicine used to treat adults and children 12 years of age and older who weigh at least 88 pounds or 40 kilograms with moderate to severe eczema, also called atopic dermatitis, that is not well controlled with prescription therapies used on the skin or topicals, or who cannot use topical therapies. Ebglyss can be used with or without topical corticosteroids. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Ask your doctor about Ebglyss and visit ebglyss.lilly.com or call 1-800-LILY-RX or 1-800-545-5979.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Yeah, so this is a little trickery right here. Here's, it's really something. Mandami comes out and, right after New York City, what have we seen here? Just the other day, we had 2 Islamic terrorists throw bombs at his house, and he still insists that white supremacy is the problem and anti-Muslim sentiment. Right? It's it's at all that anti-Muslim hate. Well, it's anti-violence hate, number one. Well, I don't want that. And this stuff is ISIS inspired, and he can't decry ISIS. He won't condemn ISIS. Now you could say, well, what difference does it make, right? Is it really important that he condemn? It is, actually. It is. You can't fix the problem if you won't identify the problem. And here he goes again, rage baiting, lying, pretending that this city is something it's not, pretending it's some sort of antediluvian, weirdo, prejudice place. It's not. All right. We are with it. Cool, hip people. And, here he goes. Are you ready? It is very insulting to me personally, but let's give him a little bit of room, shall we? For grace. Does he come through here? Does he surprise us?
And yet I know that for many in this museum tonight and those outside of it, there is a hardship that extends beyond this month, simply by belonging to our faith in this city that is our home. For nearly as long as there has been in New York City, there have been Muslim New Yorkers. And yet for nearly just as long, those with power and platform have sought to dehumanize us.
Yeah, right.
Just this morning, United States Senator Tommy Tuberville from Alabama commented on photo...
Stop. It's got to go all the way to Alabama. You're the mayor of New York, all right? You see how you have to go out of your way to be insulted? Out of your way? Oh, Tommy Tuberville. What did Tommy say? I like Tommy, by the way. Tommy! Great coach. He's going to be governor someday. Keep going there, Spike.
Of me at an iftar in City Hall this week, placed next to an image of 9/11 with the quote, "The enemy is inside the gates." A congressman from Texas named Brandon Gill described the same iftar as stomach churning, truly repulsive.
Stop for a second. This is exactly what he wanted. This is exactly why he did something so outlandish and so weird, quite frankly, to have it where he had it, how he had it. It was strange. He's not giving any grace to those who just might be catching up. You know, instead of being insulted, why don't you explain your faith a little bit? Seriously. Not everybody knows. People are open-minded. People will give you the benefit, but you did something strange. And you did it on purpose so you'd get this kind of reaction. And it does make, you know, it's okay, folks. It's okay to feel this way because he wants to, but it's also a trap. At the same time, it's a little bit of a trap. All right, keep going.
And today, Vicky Palladino, a city council member.
I like her.
From Queens, someone who works in the same building that I do, in the same building as our council members here.
Good person.
Reposted a tweet that also invoked 9/11, the worst terrorist attack that our city has ever faced, and included the phrases, yes, the terrorists won.
Hey, stop for a
described
second.
Migrants as.
I thought the worst thing that happened on 9/11 was his aunt felt weird. Remember that? His aunt felt uncomfortable on the train? But it turned out that she was in Tasmania or Tanzania, somewhere like that. She was far away. She was in Africa. That's Tanzania, right? Tasmania's Australia? This is all engineered. But that doesn't mean it's not a real thing, right? This is not something that we should not be concerned about. The stuff that goes with his faith, Sharia law, you know, unless he wants to spend more time explaining it. I'm happy to talk about my faith. I'm happy to talk about the gospel. I'm happy to talk what I understand about the gospel to be and how it can set people free and how it's a joyous life and how it's not what the enemy says. It's not a life of repression and boredom and rules and restrictions. It's a life of joy and freedom. We could talk about that. Instead, he's just, I don't know, he's just insulted all the time. But he garishly performs, and he wonders why people are asking questions. You haven't done any explaining. Keep going.
As a biological battering ram. It is not just these words, but the actions that often accompany them.
Ooh.
I think of the video many of us saw of an NYPD officer accosted while he attempted to pray in the back room of a bodega. I think, too, of the smaller indignities.
Hey, stop for a second. That was weird. I saw it. Did you see that video, Justin? First of all, it was unclear what the hell he was doing back there. And it wasn't his store. You know, it's one thing cops go in and use the bathroom. It's one thing you gotta like, right? I mean, gosh, they're out all the time. They go in, sometimes they'll ask to use the bathroom. But that was unusual. That was a little bit odd. Accosted? You want to call that accosted? The guy who owned the store didn't know what was happening. Did he ask for permission? So this is how it's going to be. You're going to arrange for these things and you're going to pretend to be offended and you're going to overlook that sometimes you're actually being offensive. Sometimes it's a police officer on duty. He takes time off in the middle of the day to go into somebody else's property and you're going to call that being accosted? He's like, what the hell is going on here? It's a fair reaction. Did he go into, what if I show up at Gracie Mansion and just go onto the porch and start praying, right? Start saying Hail Marys. Are they going to accost me? They're going to accost me. Doesn't matter if I'm saying Hail Marys or I'm singing the theme to Bugs Bunny. It's going to upset people. Keep going.
That many New Yorkers face, but that Muslims are expected to face in silence.
Yes.
Of the exhaustion of having to explain yourself to those who are not interested in understanding.
Shut the hell up. Stop it. Wait, has anyone ever, right? Has anyone ever for real? I'm trying to think of the last time I've had let me think about this. The last time I had a native-born cab driver. I have no idea. I know it's happened, but I can't remember. See, we pass people who don't, right? People, it's not a thing, and he makes it into a thing because he's an amateur, and he really is an out-of-towner. They came here with prejudice about America, that America was, oh gosh, it's really sad. And people will eat this up, especially white liberal women, to not appear this, that, or the other thing. How much longer does this go on? This is his mojo, though. This is what he's good at, right? Being offended and pointing a finger. It doesn't sound like this. It's a script. Oh boy. Who among us? Who among us has ever said, who among us? Keep going. Of
the men who introduced themselves by their given name only to be called Muhammad for years on end. of the city workers who work 12-hour shifts.
I don't know what he's talking about there.
Only to check their phone and find an elected official in that same city has called for their expulsion.
Oh, stop it.
And I would like to ask each of you.
Yeah, what's on your mind?
Who here has been told that you do not belong in New York City? Who here has heard the words, go back to where you came from?
Stop.
Who here?
Stop. I'm trying to think of the last guy who actually said that to me. Somebody did say that to me. It was Mark Green's campaign manager in 2001. And I came and I did a very nasty story about Mark Green. And his Joe DePlasco was the campaign manager. And he called me up and he left me a very nasty voicemail, and you don't even belong in New York, and blah, 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 blah. So it happens to all of us at one time or another. And people are too busy. Oh, by the way, this is not 1950. Pick it up.
Has returned home to their city only to be ushered aside and greeted with suspicion. I have known these experiences.
Yes.
As a young man, as a candidate for office, as the mayor of New York City.
Tell him about the father and
when I hear such hatred and disdain unchecked in its rancor, I feel an isolation and a loneliness that I know that many of you have felt as well.
Stop.
When I speak to Muslims across...
Who's been unleashing unchecked rancor? No more unchecked rancor. I am tired of all the unchecked rancor. Who talks like that? A phony. Who's making stuff up. That's what he does. Huh. How about that? Take over the Blue Room of City Hall for a religious festival. Why don't you, huh? It's wrong. You don't do that. Quite frankly, for any faith. All right? You can make arrangements. You can make arrangements to do it in the gymnasium of a high school or something like that. It's a scam. All right, there's the music. We'll be right back in a moment.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But here's a big one you need to hear. Billions. That's the amount of money in refunds the IRS has flagged for possible identity fraud. Now here's another big number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. One last big number. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.